As you can see from the beginning of this video, there are many people who are still constantly stirring up misconceptions, deception, misinformation, and they're making sure that you do away with human trafficking. You do away with focusing on the things that are going on as far as scarcity in our communities and child trafficking and police brutality and stressing and vices, abortion clinics, and low income neighborhoods and directed towards my people and my people getting lynched and racism and not having a cure for major sicknesses. It's like we have some of the smartest scientists, quote unquote, but these people don't want to hand out a cure for the beings that need it the most. And we're supposed to depend on these professionals that constantly lie to us. Right. For today's video, we are discussing how this grown woman right here, because you got to ask yourself as well, not a lot of men have issues with testosterone as far as it not growing in and that defining them being a man. No, there are many men who just don't have facial hair, but they're still a man. They're still born a man. But there are some women that look like men and they're basically showing towards the media and they're being pushed in the algorithm so that you distract yourself with the marine life. Because I remember when I made mermaid videos and whatnot, and how just the marine kingdom and just the way things operate in the ocean. And understanding how I shifted away from that because what is that going to do for us today? It's like those topics are cool. I don't mind breaking all those things down, but why is this coming out now? Just after the system admitted to using a skin suit like Epstein, now you got Palm Beach Pete, but they're using skin suits and they're still telling you that they're going to continue the practice of what people unconsciously do every single day. So now they got this shit in the viewpoint of what people are focusing on. They have no time to question why this story is being broadcasted, why this article is being fabricated, why the news outlets are covering this, but you won't cover the issues, the systematic issues that my people are still going through. And it's all complexions. You got ICE, you got politics, you got Trump. I mean, people going to war, you got Iran and America, you got Israel, so many different things, people fighting over resources. We got stupid shit that needs to be covered and needs to be did away with and talked about. But news outlets say, no, we can't bring higher awareness to the people. We got to discuss and talk about things that they'll be interested in, like the marine life. So that's why you have a Freemasonic actor and a puppet being the scapegoat and being painted as this being that was taken underground or underwater, it's underground, but underwater to make an underwater city. But these cities were already there. And why would a dolphin come to this realm, this dimension, to name itself a title that human beings find meaning with? If dolphins are the costume of what an extraterrestrial being or interterrestrial being is wearing, why would these beings that are higher intelligence, why would they need to use English language names to define what they know they shouldn't get attached to? If I'm an extraterrestrial deity and I know I'm in a simulation for a higher purpose, I don't have to be a human, but I can wear any costume I want. I can shift my energy into any body and I can wear it like it's my own. So why would I come to this dimension to name myself Gerald? Knowing how the process of being named goes, have you seen a dolphin go through the process of being called a name? Did the government register this dolphin or whatever random dolphin's name to be Gerald in the system? Because now they would have to keep tabs on Gerald and what Gerald is doing, but Gerald's in the ocean. So how the fuck can people sit up here and attach a name that the being never gave itself an attachment with?
Claims to have been kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build an underwater city. The man was found early Monday morning on the side of a beach in Lee County, soaking wet, dehydrated, and confused. When deputies arrived,
So the thing is, by this person being laid on the beach, that's all part of the plan, it's all part of the script. So let's say you're randomly walking on the beach and you happen to notice somebody looking at the person on the beach or the sand. You gotta look around and ask, all right, where are the cameras? Where are the news crew? And where is the masonry at? Where's the spell? You're in it. You're in the loop. You have to break free. You're in the Genjutsu. The moment you walk closer to this being laying on the beach and you see an actor saying, hey, Hey, are you okay? Somebody call 911. We got somebody down right here. The moment you start looking in the background as a background character, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? This person got taken to an underwater city by Gerald the Dolphin? Now it's like you're under the play. You are literally a background character to a Freemasonic act. You're just a part of the play, and you don't understand that you're being played with mentally, and it's happening so fast, your mind can't even keep up with what never was, what never happened, and what can't happen, and what can't be told. Because did dolphins tell the story or did humans do it? And you know, when humans tell stories, oh, they always leave out something.
He was drawing detailed diagrams in the sand. According to the man, a pod of dolphins took him while he was swimming and brought him to a place about 40 feet under the surface. He said they forced him to help build underwater structures. He
How does that sound? How do dolphins force you to do anything out of your own will? Dolphins understand, the being behind the dolphin's vessel understands, let's say, the law of attraction, law of compensation, law of duality or polarity. So it understands that if it was to do something and force you out of your own will, out of your own way of living, then it'll get karma times 10. Why would they do that when they move in love? Because they're, excuse me, they're highly, they are beings at a higher frequency with a expanded intellect that we cannot speak to. That's why you have to use your first language, telekinesis or telepathy. Why would they force you to go into an underwater city to make what? Why would you build what already was there? If these beings swim to where these structures are, why would you need to upgrade it? Why would you need to build what was already built?
told deputies the dolphins communicated with him using clicks. He said the group had a leader named Gerald who somehow helped him breathe underwater, possibly by creating an airspace. The man spent 3 days working on what he described as cities, towns, and condo-like structures. When the dolphins were satisfied with his work,
So 3 days. Out of all the numbers, why three? That's how you know Masons are at work. 369, keys to the universe. And then when they understand that they have the key to your universe, who's in control? So it's like you can't hold on, because what did they just say? Let me go
satisfied
back.
with his work and condo-like. The man spent 3 days working on what he described as cities, towns, and condo-like.
So you're making cities, towns, and condos underwater. How are you going to make and build by yourself? You're going to make this in 3 days. During this whole entire time period, you made that towns, condos, structures, all of that in 3 days. Or whatever time duration that you were underwater. That's how fast you did it. Does that even sound realistic? Let's say you're going or driving past a neighborhood or a random house and you see construction workers working on the house. In 3 days, do you see them finishing up? Now, there are some people who can't do that, but usually, do you see people getting done with a house in 3 days? How is it going to be stable if it was just built in 3 days? How do you know that beings can live in there? And what do you need to make a house underwater for when you're underwater? So what the fuck?
Structures. When the dolphins were satisfied with his work, they sent him back to the surface.
How can you be satisfied with the work of a human when human beings need to work on themselves? So that means these dolphins are stupid as fuck too. That's the case. It's like they're doing their best to give a narrative to the masses to where dolphins are being mocked as far as them discussing how they think. It's like how whoever's speaking in this news outlet, how are you going to speak for a dolphin when a dolphin never talked in your language?
Condo-like structures. When the dolphins were satisfied with
When the Dolphins were satisfied, who sat there and documented the satisfaction of a dolphin or groups of dolphins? Who sat there and said, okay, these dolphins are satisfied? Why are you constantly creating things that never happen?
his work, they sent him back to the surface and told him they would return for phase two. Medical staff
So they have phases. So you're telling me dolphins group up in councils and they discuss different phases on what humans should do for their underwater society or utopia? So humans are enslaved not only to a system that never existed, but we're now enslaved to a bunch of beings that are also co-creators with one image of source, if it had an image. So we're enslaved by dolphins and the system. But why is it just this one person getting the opportunity to go down into the ocean? Why can't many other beings have this exact same story? Why is this story happening now and not years before?
treated him for dehydration, but found no signs of head injury or mental confusion. Tests showed seawater and marine particles in his lungs, suggesting he had been deep underwater for a long time without typical lung damage. This was unusual and raised questions for doctors. The man holds a master's degree in aerospace engineering. Florida man claims
A master's degree in aerospace. And once you start getting into the master degree and all that, it's all just leveling up into occultism, which is really fucked up. And many people don't even notice that shit. So it's just kind of like, what's the point of even going to college for real when all you're doing is just wasting time with a piece of paper that's not going to be useful in the ongoing years. And we're just going to keep on, before I get into Gematria, because I got Gematria for you all today on Gerald the Dolphin, but so I know there's so much misconception on this shit. Let's see the Simpsons real quick.
You're not sharks, you're dolphins, the clowns of the sea. Ow! Ow! Hey, what's the gas? Ah! 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 Bottlenose bruises, blowhole burns, flipper prints. This looks like the work of rowdy teens. Lou, cancel the prom. It begins. The dolphins are upon us, and only this old sea dog knows how to. You're not sharks.
And the thing is, people be like, predictive programming, and they're just confessing the program that you believe. So it's not really predictive. It's just like, because you're not predicting shit. They're just really telling you, hey, we're going to show you what you're going to believe, and then we're going to confess what you never seen before, but you're seeing it now. Why? And then when you go to The Simpsons, you end up seeing the same exact pattern that you just watched. That's how you know that you're not aware of your mind and they have control of it because you react to things you think you discovered, but all you're doing is noticing the pattern recognition. What I think I
This
read.
was actually on the
to have been
news.
kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build an underwater city. The man was found early Monday morning
Okay,
on the
we
side of a
already did
beach
all
in Lee County,
that.
forced him to help build underwater structures. Gerald,
Right.
who somehow helped him breathe underwater.
I
Yeah, we
have
did
so
that.
many questions
Right.
for this. Like, first of all, did we investigate his claims? The dude was found soaking wet doing detailed drawings. Put a little telescope down there, see if he's telling the truth or not. Dolphin's leader being named Gerald is crazy. I'm from Florida, and to be honest with you, I heard this story and I immediately thought, okay, this happened in Tampa somewhere. Weird things happen in Florida all the time. I mean, this is probably the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. The fact that people are debating whether or not the story is real or fake, or if he made it up, is crazy just because it happened in Florida. If this happened anywhere else, everyone would say it was fake. But I have to break the news. This is like a fake AI story somebody made up, apparently. I heard this story and I'm like, yeah, this is something a Florida man would say in like St. Peter, Tampa, or something like that. Maybe even South Beach. The fact they actually aired this on the news to actually tell everyone it's fake didn't.
And then on just that thing about the location as well, like geographically, because energetically, Florida being at the bottom, close towards a hot environment, if you can scatter different minds into belief, they will let their belief think as if this story is really real because of the news claiming it to have happened. But majority of people were not there to see it happening. So how can you believe in what you're being told when what you're being told is a fabricated made up lie that the Constitution will keep silent about because of their oath.
Actually happen. I mean, that just tells you the state of Florida right there. While we're on the topic
The
of talking about things that are
Constitution.
fake, Scrambly is an app that is not fake. And if you
What the fuck are we talking about scrambling
your
for?
TikTok stuff, and as you scroll, you'll this one's actually through PayPal story was real or fake. I personally, like I said, thought it was real because people in Florida say stuff like this all the time. Let me
Okay, so you're under Freemasonry as well. All right, we're not gonna waste too much time. Let's go ahead and get right into the gematria. Let me go ahead and make sure that okay. So for today, we got who is Gerald the Dolphin? I understand as well. You and I are the mirror of what never was. Remember, we are simply the presence experiencing thought, and we're experiencing life within these thoughts. But the thoughts within this life are not experiencing themselves. That's why you are in the presence of what you've already mastered. The biggest lie in history, right or wrong. And as we got one, two, three, four, five, six, we got six ciphers. 232, 1392, 464, 232, 115, 124, and many more. And if you're new here, what we are looking for is the synchronization. So this is through numerology and astrology as well. So A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, D equals 4. And if you want to know who is on higher levels of authenticity, honesty, these people use the numbers. If you see any beings who are giving game on Gematria and we are examining and we're breaking it down, that's how you know these are beings that understand the calculation of what scripts are being ran. So we're looking into a script before the script was shown to the masses. The masses cannot comprehend Gematria because we are now beyond the present. We're in the future. So the biggest lie in history. Why is that? Because did Gerald tell anybody about this story happening? Or did people just sit up there and convince themselves that this story happened? But that'd be the thing, though. It's just a story from his perspective. But you were like, oh, I heard a woman. Ah, anybody that is famous, that is known, that is on that screen, that is showing you how to get the big bucks by being on the news, being in entertainment industries and whatnot, they are inverted beings. So if you don't understand about genetic engineering, then you will be lost throughout this whole entire plot. It's a celestial story. I put that because understand the ocean is, let's say, it's a veil. It's a veil of infinite space that has no limitation. And it has access to any kind of life that you may not even be able to look up or research. You would just have to basically experience it and move on because anything goes. And the frequency is too high, it's too overwhelming for our bodies to bear. That's why our system has technology that's given to them by trafficking us. They have technology that's given to them that they now get to wear, and these suits that they're wearing can now withstand the pressures of the ocean. So that's why it's a celestial story because Hermeticism, principles of mentalism, as above, so below. When you get into the lowest part of the ocean, you now get to experience the heavenly embodiment of the realms that are still enslaved to the process of what the mind puts hell into the shape of. Kids get shot in school. I guarantee you this year, you're going to see more school shootings, and it's becoming so common to see school shootings. It's like going to school and going to work now. I mean, we see this shit damn near every week, every month, and it's tiring. And you have to be able to put your kids on game and just say, hey, treat people with love and go to school, do what you got to do, go back to the house. Do not pick on anybody, don't trigger anybody, just be nice. And if you have a problem, make sure you go and get some help. Do not try to do things on your own accord because you could lose your life according to somebody's act. Kids that shoot up schools are Freemasonic actors, they're puppets, and their parents put them into position. Or are they really the parents or just the agent? The Intergalactic Council. So intergalactic council meaning underwater as well, because if you go underwater in a different advanced spacecraft or whatever, you can go into different, let's say, temples. And when you're in these temples, you now enter into different conversations that the military wouldn't even be talking about because you got to take that oath. Once you take that oath and you sign your blood away, you now have access to astrological rituals. So this particularly is one of them. And let me see. Hold on. Let me look up Gerald the Dolphin story. Okay, I want to say I need to figure out when this happened. Okay, so March 13th, I want to say. It seems like. I'm just making sure, even though I don't even trust the news and all that, but I don't even trust the internet. So why am I on it? So I think March 4th. So either way, early in March. But ask yourself through different astrological terms. Why on this day? Why early in March? Why? Because we're about to start springing the cold front, which we're about to start springing stagnation into it accelerating forward. But now the acceleration forward will now do what? It'll push time back so that you have a longer day, but you're still being gazed in a prolonged manner that you had to start freeing yourself into. If you want to have long days that are better, then start working for yourself. So you can go home from work, go home from school, play the game and chill, take a nap, be caked up, go party, go hoop. You can do whatever the hell you want. But if you sit down and say, I can just knock out my purpose first, I can do what I got to do, go exercise, go ground, go journal, go make content, do whatever. And then once I'm done, I can go and have fun. So ask yourself on these days, why did they send this shit out? Why is deception a new death? People who fall for these things astrologically lose themselves. So with the energies coming up for these different astrological alignments and whatnot, if people can't get themselves together in March, wait till April. They'll be fooled by their own works. And the thing is, they can't work for themselves. That's why their habits kill them because they're deceived by what they think is real. You are in the spirit. When you're in the spirit, nothing exists physically. We all understand that the physical is just an experience that you have to learn to be conscious in again. But when you learn to be conscious, you now have to be able to understand that your consciousness is beyond the physical because you're not the body. The skull and bones emblem. So you look at the skull and bones emblem. They have a say so in what gets pushed into the media and what's being told and what's said to you. Because if you go into the space to where the news people or the news anchors are talking and whatnot, look at their point of view and what they're reading. They're reading off a teleprompter. They're being told what to say. They're not saying these thoughts. So who's to say this is really what's going on when they're being told what to say? And they're watching what they need to be saying or what they need to be told so that you can now listen to what you're told to do. But they're programmed by doing what they were told to do. So who's being told what to do when nobody's free mentally? They're all transgender. So meaning that whenever you look, they're all transgender. These are all, and the thing is many people too that are making videos on these things. The news people who are talking about it, the police officer, yeah, they were all under satanic ritual abuse. And thank your CIA for that. Thank your agencies, the ones who don't have to do any work because they're watching you go through your own turmoil, your own battles. You're the one creating these battles for yourself because you accept genetic engineering. If you were against it, you would constantly spread awareness on it, but yet you keep quiet because it does not pertain to you, nor do you care, nor do you want to care. Decode the missing children. We never gonna stop about that. We never gonna stop talking about that. What happened to all these children that were being broadcasted when it came down to the Epstein files or Epstein files going viral? We just gonna stop talking about missing children every day? News branches that cover the news can talk about Gerald the Dolphin and many different things that don't matter. Like, I mean, just stupid shit. But you can't discuss where these children are going. Brain invading parasites. And these parasites can come from what? Your television screen, your phone, your food, for sure. What you drink, what you listen to. I mean, parasites come in many different forms. They're a collective egregore that people create through cursed energy because people keep themselves at a lower way because they're mentally getting their energy siphoned because they're weak, because of what their job or what school or what society has told them to become. So because they lose their way, now these parasites that they consume end up taking over their body, possessing their identity, erase my masculinity. So every time you see articles like this, you see stories like this, they want you to forget about your masculinity. And that goes with anything, even through pharmaceuticals, influencers, movies, your teachers, history. They want you to think as if you were born a male, born a man. They want you to think as if it's okay to be in your femininity and don't be masculine. Don't be so hard body. Don't be confident. Don't be a protector. Don't be a provider. You need support. You need to submit to somebody who will take care of you. That's why they want you to get rid of your masculinity by believing in what transgenders are lying about. And it's no offense to the trans community or the people who are transgender. Nothing wrong with you all whatsoever. But I have a problem when you all start using your genetic engineering process or your mentally deranged identity or your identity loop, when you start using that for a selfish gain and harm upon others, including children, that's when I step the fuck in. Because I ain't finna let your delusion fuck up the rest of everybody else's. Nah, that's dead. Evolve through love. I can't hate on anybody. I can't talk down anybody. I can't make anybody else feel small. That's for you to do. We have to always be there for each other because we aren't here for a long period of time, nor do we need to be. Because if you want to be here for a long period of time, you're just going to lose yourself in the process. And if you do that, don't expect anybody to come and save you. Because nukes are pseudoscience. I know most of you all keep seeing things about nukes and whatnot with Iran and just the wars across the water, across the pond. But this is basically something that sounds scientific, but it's not proven or tested. So people use this claim, but they don't use experiments or evidence or facts to back it up. So it looks like science, but it's not really science. That's why when they tell you about nuking this or that, that shit's not going to happen. If it does happen, you better make sure that you're nowhere near it. But till these things happen, they're just all talk. It's just all fear propaganda, fear programming, and installations into your database to where your genes instruct your cells to fear what you think is real. Transinvestigations, when you do the investigations on what transgenders lie about, your life becomes a simulation. You now end up seeing synthetic inversion and you work through it. You don't go against it, but you going against it is you going against yourself and what you agreed to just watch. So by you just letting it run its course and you speaking up about what it's doing in the algorithm, that helps you get into higher levels of more love. Higher dimensions, higher states of where you already are comes from loving your ego in duality, or what your ego is doing in duality. Our life is a simulation, so how can you investigate people who look transgender when they don't even exist either? Extraterrestrials, same exact shit. Beings who are not from here, they're from outer our worlds, and they come into our world through the ocean. And as they do that, they now watch the stage. Earth is the place to be when you want to have fun, when you want to watch humans go through what they think matters. Truman Show, for example. Higher ups, beings that have no body, they are entertained when people are doing nothing with their lives but recording it. That's how they find amusement in nothingness because they've mastered everything. So they want to go and appreciate what you're experiencing so you can get right to where they are, and the cycle will constantly keep on going. What is coded in your DNA? If you believe in this shit, your genes instruct you to fall for Luciferianism. So your DNA will tell you, oh, Gerald the Dolphin's story is this or it's that. Mom, did you see that? Dad, did you see this? Best friend, did you see that? Gerald the Dolphin, this and that. Your cells will start programming you to think as if this story really happened and it never did. Secret meaning of pizza. We can't forget celebrities, politicians, our higher ups that run our governments and many different power corporations and universities. These beings sexualize kids and use the sexualization into an entitlement and use these titles and correlated that with food such as pizza. These beings are so perverted, they decided to speak in code and attach food with children. And when you tell people this, they will look at you like you're in the wrong for noticing it. Oh, I'm wrong for noticing what people are perverting. How do you pervert pizza? You can't even say, I want to go and get a pepperoni pizza or a cheese pizza or pizza with some olives and basil or what's another plant on there, spinach on there, whatever else. You can't say you want that anymore necessarily because people will look at you like you're crazy. But if that's not your intention, if that's not how you're moving, then it won't even matter. But it's weird because just like it's disgusting when you even think of it like that. Because it's like, damn, I just want some food. But y'all fucked up the way we view food now because y'all see kids as the exact same shit, food for thought. So if you have a thought with what they think is food, are you really digesting what you're being told? And if you're digesting that, have you seen it happening or are you just hearing it happening? Have you remote viewed and seen it? Then you can speak up on this shit. Certain time manipulation. We're not even in time. We're just measuring what time things are supposed to be record it. But all you can record is just your memory. All that you can record is just the actions that you did in the past, present, and future. But you never did anything. That's why when these beings went through CERN, they went back in time to understand how to alchemize it for the future because there was never a future. The future can only be curated in the now. That's why when they went back in time and noticed the beginning of what can't end or begin, that's when they said, we're going to set up traps, give them tools so that they will go against themselves and they will manipulate the timeline to going against them to where now they will start blaming us, but realistically, we're watching them do it to themselves. Have a successful, prosperous, and awakening evening, rising, and a divine night as well. I love you all. Thank you for watching. I'm gone. Fucking Gerald the Dolphin. Fuck believes in that dumbass shit.